As you guys all know, the new Dragon Ball Super movie came out recently, and it inspired me to make a video about Dragon Ball. However, unlike the movie, Gohan isn't the primary focus here, but he is the secondary, for he is a core component of this video. Now, before we get into it really, I just want to say everything in here is just my opinion. You guys can agree or disagree in the comments if you want to, but this is all how I took it, as I see it. And with that out of the way, let's go back to the video. It's your boy Pride here, and today we're going to be asking the question, how bad of a dad is Goku really? Now, we're going to start off in the very beginning, pretty much Dragon Ball Z episode 1, where we see Gohan in the middle of the forest, going around catching butterflies and all those things. And we see him meet a saber-toothed tiger. He falls down, pretending to be dead, and so the saber-toothed tiger walks up to him and snatches his hat. Gohan gets up, chases the tiger, gets lost at some point, falls off of a mountain, survives it, eventually finds like a little stream or a little river, tries to walk over it, fails because he's a child, and he gets pulled away by the current. He goes all the way down the water, goes towards a waterfall, a huge waterfall, falls for a little bit, and then at some point, a little bit later, Goku picks him up, and they both happily go home. Now, I know in a lot of other circumstances, a child going through any and all of that would be a pretty big indicator that their parents are probably not good parents. But how about we just look through it again with a little bit more context and see what truly happened to actually fully understand if it was bad or not for them. Let's go back to when Gohan sees the saber-toothed tiger and he's just scared. But then the tiger takes his hat. Instead of being scared, he's more upset and a little bit angry. And then he chases the saber-toothed tiger. And not only chases it, he's gaining on it. Now, if I was this tiger and I turned around and I saw this running at me, I would be terrified too. I'm not gonna lie to you. That is horrifying. I can see why the tiger decided to, juke him a little bit. Dodge left, right, here and there, cross him up. And the kid falls off a mountain. Can't blame the tiger for that one. But as Gohan falls off a mountain, he falls unconscious. But before he goes splat, his tail, again, while he's still unconscious, grabs a branch and holds him there perfectly and then carefully lowers him to the ground, kinda. And the kid wakes up lost, but okay. He wanders around, gets lost in the current. At this point, Goku sees him, but Goku's too slow in his flying nimbus to actually catch him because Goku can't fly yet. And the kid goes through a cave, and then he's about to fall off the waterfall into the giant river below. Now, Goku is looking down because he doesn't really see Gohan anywhere in the water. Now, to me, it doesn't seem that Goku is grief stricken at the moment. He doesn't think in his head that Gohan is dead. He just seems a little worried, obviously, and he just seems more eager to try to catch his son. But to Goku's surprise, Gohan is somehow above not only him, but he's above the entire waterfall halfway up the mountain. If he would have went a little bit further, he would have been safely on land. Goku goes up, wonders how Gohan got up here because Goku can't do that. But he dismisses it completely and then just reassures his son that, you have the hat on your head, no harm, no foul. Let's just get you cleaned up and we can go back to the crib. And they happily go back to the house like it was just another Tuesday. Now, you gotta realize that in this episode, we also showed that Chi-Chi and Goku are having a conversation on pretty much, finding Gohan. And they're all pretty lax about it. Chi-Chi just asks him to go get Gohan so that way they can go and do the thing that Goku said that they were going to do that day, which is go to Master Roshi's. And this is after Goku comes back from his own little section in the forest after getting a giant tree. So this little scene kind of depicts that Gohan being in the forest by himself is utterly normal, which makes sense in a lot of ways because later when Goku tries to find Gohan and he sees a saber-toothed tiger with the hat in its mouth, Goku just is asking it where Gohan's at. There is no illusion in Goku's mind that this tiger ate his son. And I think the reason for that is that both Chi-Chi and Goku know that Gohan is probably the strongest thing in this forest besides them. again, Chi-Chi is a very overprotective mother. So for her to be okay with like Goku not knowing where Gohan's at in this forest, that must mean that if there was a danger in the forest, the danger is Gohan. Gohan is the most dangerous being in the forest if they're not in it. So I just want to get that across. So I say all of that to say that this doesn't really make them a bad parent, because out of context, this does look pretty horrible. Leaving your kid in the forest by themselves, fend for themselves, it looks pretty horrible. But with context, you realize that not only have Goku and Chi-Chi been wandering the world when they were only slightly older than Gohan is now at this moment, but they were also strong enough to like fend for themselves and do all this stuff. And they have a pretty good suspicion that Gohan is probably stronger than them. So I can't say that Goku's a bad parent for this. It looks bad at a glance. When you look at it again, it's pretty normal. It's pretty alright. No harm, no foul. So we move on to the next point, where this is pretty much the beginning of the Android saga. Pretty much. It's like right after Planet Namek was destroyed and they try to wish for Goku to come back. But they're surprised to learn that Goku is not only alive, but he doesn't want to come back home just yet. Now, understandably, this does seem like he's a bad parent. Gohan just went through a whole bunch of traumatizing events in his deep space adventures. And Goku doesn't want to come back home to, chill with his kid, help relieve some trauma that this kid most likely has. Now, in hindsight, this is actually a good move for Goku because he gets the instant transmission out of this. And we all know how busted and good that move has been for him. If the Kamehameha is his thing, then the instant transmission is his second thing. Like, that is those two things that really make and break Goku. There's a lot of times where if he didn't have the instant transmission, he'll be pretty boned. He'd be pretty messed up. However, let's just take this out of hindsight for a second and just like look at it from, practicality, if we will. There's a lot of instances where a parent would volunteer for a deployment, or they volunteer or are told by their job to like go out of country for a couple of months or a couple of weeks or some things like that. That's pretty much what Goku was doing here. He had technically a business venture because his main job is to get stronger. He doesn't really have a job, period, but his one thing that he does do is get better. So I wouldn't call it being a bad parent for coming back to the house, because again, everybody knows that he's fine. Everybody knows that he's coming back. He's just taking longer with it, but he's coming back to the house with more than when he left. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not a great thing. That right there put him from a great dad to an okay dad. It doesn't make him a bad dad. And I think that is enough for right now. So in the first part of Dragon Ball Z, he's a pretty great dad. This part, he's like, not really looking out for the family too much, but he's not terrible at the same time because he's still planning on coming back. He's just taking a detour. This next part of this 3 segment is pretty much damning evidence of Goku being memed as a bad father. It's where he's saying all these praises about Gohan fighting Cell in the Cell games. And Gohan's fighting him and Goku's like, yeah, Gohan has all these amazing potential, this, that, and the other. Goku's like looking at Gohan as if he's like, some almost like a spectacle, just like, just the best thing for fighters everywhere. And Goku's looking at it happily. And then here comes Piccolo with a reality check saying that even though Gohan is indeed that powerful as you say he is, he's still just a child. And not only is he just a child, he doesn't want to be the best. He doesn't want what you want, Goku. And that's where Goku had a realization dawn on his face for pretty much the first time, where he finally looks at Gohan and realizes that he hasn't really been looking at Gohan. He doesn't know exactly what Gohan wants. He doesn't know what Gohan doesn't want. He's just been looking at the potential and what Gohan could have been, colored by what Goku wants. And that skewed his image of his son just a little bit. And it was at that point where Goku had a realization that he was a bad dad. And the viewers had a realization that Piccolo is a better dad. I think that's where it is. Like, say what you will about Goku. Bad, good, whatever. But it is undeniable that whatever category we put Goku in on the dadometer, Piccolo is just better. Piccolo's the dad that will get you exactly what you want for Christmas, and you didn't even have to tell him to get you it. Like, he knew what you wanted for Christmas and he already ordered it months ago. Piccolo's that type of dad. Goku's the type of dad that will get you what you want for Christmas, but if you don't say anything, when Christmas comes, he's just gonna look at you and just give you boxing gloves because he's like, well, you didn't ask for anything, so I got you what I think is great. Boxing gloves, boom, right there. You see, I believe that is what people really take from all of these memes. Is not that Goku's a horrible dad, it's just that standing next to Piccolo, Goku's a horrible dad, because Piccolo is just so much better of a parent. Like, Goku loves his kid and he does spend time with them, especially after what Piccolo said in the Cell games and really opened up Goku's eye. And it was pretty much after that point that Goku decided to change, because you see in Super that he actually does spend time with his kids, both of them, and even his grandkids. Like, he has a farm, he does things for the farm, he spends time with Goten, he even goes with Gohan to do things that Goku probably has no clue on why they're doing this, but it's because Gohan wants to do it. So Goku is supporting Gohan in all the things that he wants to do. So Goku is trying. Goku, in my opinion, has improved. And it's because of what Piccolo, the better dad, told him. So the improvement is there. Goku has become better than what he was. Again, Piccolo's still a better dad because Piccolo was always on it. But at least Goku's trying. At least Goku's trying. So to really answer the question if Goku's a bad parent or not, I'll say he's a pretty good parent, mostly because he still tries to be great. He's not inherently good, and it's no fault of his own because he doesn't have any parent to learn from himself, but he did see his shortcomings and he is improving on them. Now, there is one more thing that I like to close out on, is the fact that even though Piccolo's a better dad, Goku still has one lesson that he can teach them better than pretty much anyone else, and he teaches this pretty much through his action. And the lesson that he imparts on his kids is you should never stop improving yourself. You should never stop trying to be the best you that you can possibly be. Whatever it is that you want to be, go for it and try to be good at it. And you know what? Ain't that lesson coming from a parent? It's all you really need. And for me, him giving that lesson out to his kids is enough to call him a good dad. That's the end of the video. Hey pals, thank you all for watching it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like. Also, if you don't mind, you can also subscribe. It'll help me out a lot. You can also talk about it in the comment section. You know, talk about whether Goku's a better dad than Piccolo. Hey, maybe even Vegeta can be in this debate. Vegeta being #1 dad in Dragon Ball. Not all time, but Dragon Ball. That'll be some discussion. But alright, that's it for me. But before I go, just giving you guys a heads up, the next video is going to be about Zaraki Kenpachi. It's going to be a little different than what I mostly hear about him. It's going to be a little bit different. But you know, I guess you guys will have to find out what I mean by that. Until then, stay cool.